We're here to talk about Saints Row 4, and you're watching Connected Digital World.
Peggy 18.
So, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Sure. My name is Scott Phillips. I'm the design director on Saints Row 4.
Saints Row 4, let's talk about that. Tell us about it.
So Saints Row 4, the player has transitioned from being the leader of a gang into being the president of the United States of America.
As you do.
As often happens. In addition to that, once that's happened, the player, the Earth is invaded by this army of aliens called the Zin. The Zin grab the player along with lots of other people and put them into the simulations in which the player must revolt against the Zin and try to take them down. In the process of doing that, the player gains superpowers and has to fight the Zin aliens using his superpowers in order to finally defeat their leader, Zinyak.
Right, so that's pretty much
that's
the game. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So let's take some of the elements. If this is the fourth game, how much of the previous three games do you need to have played to really appreciate the game, or can you literally just jump into the fourth game?
I would say you can jump right in. I mean, you're going to get more. You're going to get more out of little things that characters say or little situations. Like there's definitely some flashback sort of moments in Saints Row 4 that players that have played 1, 2, and 3 will get more out of. So in that way, it's kind of a nice end of this saga of Saints Row where you get to meet some old characters again and play with them again. But if you haven't played the others, they're just a cool character to you. It's not as if you're missing anything.
Hopefully people then go back to the previous three
exactly
games
and buy them all.
Excellent. So you mentioned superpowers. Let's talk a little bit about that. That's obviously something unique for the Saints Row series.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work? What are the superpowers and what can he do?
So the two superpowers we showed off today, in addition to being able to run at 90 miles an hour and jump over tall buildings, we showed off Freeze Blast, which is a way to, essentially you shoot out a blast that freezes everything in the immediate area, which allows you to run up and shatter it by punching it or kicking things into it or shooting them. So it's a really effective area of effect type weapon. The other superpower we showed was called Telekinesis, or TK for short, which allows you to pick up objects, people, cars, and throw them just all around the city. So I mean that's for me one of my personal favorites, and just I spend hours just picking up people and throwing them against walls and grabbing them and throwing them against the wall and then grabbing them and throwing them against the wall. It's just a very very effective and very satisfying experience to play with the superpowers.
There's also a mech suit. So
there is a mech suit.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It sort of came out of what can we do to take a step up from just a tank, and a mech just made easy sense, and was something that it actually took a long time to do, but in the end it's a lot of fun to go stomping around the open world with a mech suit and fly up around buildings and rain down hellfire on your enemies around you. It's just a lot of fun to play with.
One of the things that makes Saints Row unique against a lot of other games is the choice of weapons. Now, today you showed us a new weapon, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, but the Dubstep Gun.
That's right.
Which, quite frankly, was quite cool. How did you come up with that one, and are there any other ones that you can share today?
Sure. The two we showed today were the Inflator Ray and the Dubstep Gun. The Inflator Ray obviously pumps people up until they explode. The Dubstep Gun is, our sort of description of it was a party in a box. Or a party in a gun, I guess would be one way of describing it. So it's essentially just everyone around you starts dancing, music is going off, cars are bouncing, car windows are shattering, the whole world is just a party. And it's also shooting out essentially sound waves is what it's supposed to be. And so as you start hitting people with it or hitting your enemies with it, they'll, if you ever seen a dubstep video, they'll play stuff in reverse and go back and forward through time. And so as enemies die, they fall to the ground, they get back up, and fall to the ground and go partially. It's just a really fun weapon to sort of, has that sort of Saints Row, it's just fun sort of feel to it. And I think it's a really fun weapon to play around with in the open world. I mean, we've obviously got lots more weapons that we'll show over the course of the next couple months. And then, with the Superpowers, we've got lots more of those to show in the coming months. There's a lot more than just the 2 we showed today.
And there's obviously a lot of weapon customization as well. You showed today that you can customize the rocket launcher to look like a guitar case. Do you want to talk a little bit about various options there?
Sure. Well, most of the weapons in the game have them. I think there's about 30 weapons in the game. There's about 50 skins, so you can get 150 sort of options. There's a lot of things you can make your weapons look like. The goal there was, our customization is about not about tying you to a certain look because it gives you certain bonuses. Our customization is about look how you want to look. If you want to play the game naked, play the game naked. If you want to wear Uncle Sam outfit, that's fine. If you want to look like a furry, whatever. It doesn't affect your functionality. And so our goal was, let's bring that into the weapons as well. People like to role play in Saints Row, and we want to make that even more possible. With if you want to look like a stormtrooper or something like that, and you want to hold a blaster that maybe looks something like Star Wars, you could do that. There's just a lot of options for what you can make your character and what you can make your weapons look like.
So one of the more, shall we say, talked about weapons from Saints Row the Third was the Dildo Bat. Is that going to make a reappearance in the 4th game?
Well, I think we have something similar to it. Not something I would talk about yet, but we carry through some of the flavor of that weapon from Saints Row and perhaps take it a little further. So that's something to look for in the next coming months.
Were you surprised by the sort of reaction from people with the 3rd game with that particular weapon and them creating their own versions of the weapon and going cosplaying with it?
I did not hear about that. I have not seen pictures of that.
I've seen a few pictures of people.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's different. Let's maybe change the subject quickly. So there are different game modes. Do you want to talk about those?
Game modes? You mean co-op?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we have the same sort of drop-in, drop-out co-op that we've had on the past Saints Row games. It's very easy to get into and get out of. Any progress you make is stored, so when you go and play with your friend, you're not hurting yourself, you're only gaining. You're not going to lose anything that you gain while you play with them. So it's a very positive experience, essentially. We wanted you never to feel like you were losing out by playing with someone, as some other co-op games have done. So it also enhances the experience. It makes it, it'll difficulty balance based on the 2 players and make it tougher or easier. So it's really, I think that's the most fun way to play with the game. Just anytime you play any game with a friend, it's better. And with Saints Row, that's absolutely true.
So obviously it's an open world game. How big is the open world?
Well, it's roughly, the open world of Steelport is roughly the same size as it was in Saints Row the Third. The city, basically, instead of trying to grow it horizontally, we've grown it vertically because of the superpowers, because of being able to jump, hundreds of feet in the air. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to keep expanding out, so we expanded up with the alien structure. And so there's platforms all over the city. There's towers that you can climb to get special rewards. There's just a lot more things to experience in exploring the world vertically than there is. The world itself feels a lot different from Saints Row the Third.
And will there be alien weapons that we can play with?
Absolutely. The aliens bring a lot of cool weapons. We dole those out through the campaign, and there's a lot of new ones that we haven't shown today that people will have a lot of fun with. Very, very, very destructive weapons. Weapons that are, we wanted them to have their own sort of unique flavor. So there's some gameplay functionality that's just plain old different from the way the human weapons work. So I think there's a ton of variety there.
And when's the game
The game will be out in August of this year.
Thank you very much for your time.
Great.